Hi, welcome to week 2. Hopefully you have gotten well acclimated to the course shell and are ready to get to work. Thank you so much for all of the introductory emails you have sent. I am enjoying so much getting to know more about you and your work. If you've not had a chance to send me that email, do go ahead and do that so I'll know with whom I'm working this semester. Also, thank you for the discussion board posts from last week. I appreciate your prompt attention to those and the feedback that you're providing to each other. Sounds like we have a very highly capable group of folks this semester, and you have such varying backgrounds, which will add to the rich discussion that I look forward to all of us having together. Just a few things I want to go over with you about this week's module. As a reminder, I want you to make sure you are collaborating with your group on the presentation that is due next week. And if you have any questions about how to put that together, don't hesitate to post those to the discussion board group, or if it's of a confidential nature, of course, email me or call me directly. Also, want to remind you, if you haven't already, in the discussion board section, which is for general questions, make sure that you click the subscribe button at the top of that so that anytime a new question or new answer is posted, you will get a notification, and that will help us all stay as current as possible on the information that's shared there. The next thing that you'll be doing this week is beginning to read some chapters in your books. And I wanted to mention a few things to you that resonated with me that I want you to pay very careful attention to. First of all, in the Haycock's book, I want you to look closely at the examples that were provided. 2 were good and 2 weren't so good. The really good ones were Larry's and Marie's. And while the others had some merit, they were certainly missing the mark. And I want you to think about those examples in context with your own teaching or teaching that you observe, and think of some of the ways that what you're implementing or what you're seeing could be improved. Also on page 7 of the Haycock's book, a quote that I particularly appreciated was this one. Let me read it to you so I get it correct. In some ways, differentiated instruction gives every student the specialized instructional focus that's long been provided for special education students through IEPs. But what differentiated instruction provides is more manageable, more efficient, and easier for teachers to implement. I have always, in my experience, felt like some of those strategies that we provide for students with IEPs are just solid, sound instructional strategies that are good for everyone. And a more simple way to put that would just be good teaching is good teaching. And I think what you'll find as we progress through this course is simply that. These instructional strategies that we're going to present, and for the most case, work for all students, but it's just a matter of meeting students where they are and moving them forward. So think about that quote as you read through that section. And then when we say differentiation, I think there's a misconception that we're only talking about differentiating our delivery of the content, when in fact it's much more than that. So as you're reading, I want you to think about differentiating not only the content, because that's a big piece of it, but also the way in which you deliver the content. So we're differentiating both the content and the way that we deliver it, as well as the product. And you'll find that while Haycock's and Tomlinson share some similarities there are also some differences. So I'll be interested to see what you think about those. And then some things that resonated with me in the Tomlinson text are, number one, she is just so real. She's so easy to read, and I think she puts it in such a way that we can all identify. You know, wouldn't you like to, I don't know, maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but as someone who's been in the field of education for quite a while now, I wish I had the opportunity to go back and apologize to some of my students I had my first year, because I wish I had known then all of the things that I know now. I think I would have been much more effective, and maybe you feel that way, or maybe you feel like you had a really strong first year. I love the fact that she talks about how she never intended to become a teacher, but when that became her life's work, you know, she certainly wanted to make it the best possible experience for her students. And I really liked the quote that she shares: when students are engaged, they have no motivation to misbehave. In my line of work, I have the opportunity to work with a lot of teachers who are second career teachers, meaning they came to us because of their expertise in a certain technical field. And what I often find is something that new second career teachers struggle with is classroom management. But as quickly as I can get them to the point of when students are engaged, they don't find this need to misbehave. That quote by Tomlinson just really captured for me what is a large part of my work. And once those teachers get that, they are on fire, and you just can't stop them. The last point that really resonated with me in the Tomlinson text, well, actually there were two more, sorry. I liked how she talked about getting organized and putting that curriculum notebook together, but then she found that what once became this perfect guide in some ways became an encumbrance because it didn't allow for flexibility. And then finally, student differences matter, and effective teachers attend to those differences thoughtfully and proactively. These texts that you're going to read this time are just full of good information, and you'll have a chance to respond to what you thought about this information within this week's modules. You'll have a discussion board that asks you to compare and contrast the content from the two chapters, and then create a visual to share. And as I mentioned before, there are probably a lot more similarities than differences. However, I think the differences are worth noting, and I'll be interested to see what your opinions are from a practitioner standpoint. What you think about this matters, and I'm looking forward to reading your thoughts. There's also going to be a discussion board asking you to upload your results from the classroom practices inventory and talk about which aspects of your teaching practice are already strong and where your opportunities for improvement lie. That's a positive way to put that. And then finally, I have shared what I've called a practical application. I will be facilitating a professional development this week with some teachers, and a lot of what we're doing aligns nicely to this course. And I would like to get your feedback on if there is anything that you might have found helpful, either as a new teacher or now. And that will just better help me strengthen what I share with teachers. So that is going to be the gist of Module 2. I am always available for you with questions that you may have. And one thing that I failed to mention earlier, I'm excited about the fact that we have a lot of different content areas coming together for this course. So while you are separated out into your respective groups in your first course, we are now coming together, and that will just allow us an opportunity to have some really deep discussions about curriculum and content and how to differentiate instruction. So that is Module 2. Enjoy.